Hi everyone, today we'll be covering some exam technique number 4, vocabulary. So this is 3.4 of exam techniques, section 3. So let's get to it. Alright, in IGCSE 0500, you're expected to know a variety of synonyms, antonyms, collocations, idioms, descriptive adjectives, and adverbs. Whether you're describing an ethereal forest or a dystopian city, just as an example, or writing the words of a persuasive speech, can go from anywhere to in between that too. Use of apt vocabulary is vital. So, a great way to study these, and plausibly the only way to truly learn them, is to read a larger variety of books that slightly challenge your understanding and can improve your vocabulary in total. Okay, word classes. You should know them by now, but let's get through them anyway. The main four are nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, but there's also pronouns, determiners, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. You may also change a verb into a noun, for example, to develop, development, to create, creation. You can also change create, for example, you can change it to creativity as an adjective or creatively as an adverb. You can change different word classes. So let's cover these. A noun is a thing, a place, person, or an idea. Proper nouns are names like Valerie, but normal nouns are, like researcher and bay. They're objects or places. A verb is an action or a state of being. For example, to run or to be. The thing that has to in front of it, to run, to be, is the infinitive form of the verb. You don't actually say I to run, you say I run, you run, he, she runs, for example. We conjugate the verb. But then be is an irregular verb because it's conjugated differently. You don't say I to be, nor do you say I be. Well, unless you're talking about different types of sentences. But in the simple present, I am, you are, he or she is, for example, an example, and examples. Adjectives describes or gives more information about a noun, for example, bright and fun. Adverbs modify a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. It tells us how often, where, and when. Adverbial phrases also act as adverbs. For example, soon, quietly, maybe even from time to time. That's an adverbial phrase. Now, pronouns. Pronouns are used in place of a noun to avoid repetition. This also includes yourself. Other people may use your pronouns, for example, she, her, or he, him, or they, them, or other pronouns, to avoid repetition, to call you, or to call their characters, or objects, or nouns. For example, he, her, they, it. Mhm. Determiners. Determiners modify, describe, or introduce a noun and or its quantity. For example, a, the, some, and also possessive determiners. Cannot be also possessive. Your, my, their. Preposition. It shows the relationship of a noun with another word. I just used the preposition with. And there's also at as an example. That's not the only ones. Alright, for conjunction, I put fanboys over here because it's a nice acronym to remember the main 7, though this is not exhaustive. That's not all of them. So it connects two sentences or phrases into one compound sentence, which is two clauses joined by a conjunction. So fanboys correlates to for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. If you want to write this down, feel free to. Other examples include when, if, because, and unless. And of course, there are more. Finally, an interjection. An interjection is a word or phrase used as an exclamation or a surprise, you know. that expresses a vivid emotion. For example, wow, gosh, oh my gosh, gee. All of those are interjections. Okay, now we define what synonyms, antonyms, collocations, and idioms actually mean. Now, a synonym is a word that has the same meaning as another word, or nearly the same meaning. Let's take a word. Let's see. Happy. Happy is quite an overused word. We definitely need synonyms for that. The synonyms also depend on context. So, synonyms for happy can be ecstatic, which really, really happy, satisfied, and sunny. Ecstatic in this context might be happy to the point where you're going a bit insane. So make sure to use the right synonym because synonyms can have different connotations. We'll talk about that in literary devices. Next up, we have antonyms. Antonyms is the opposite of another word. Now, the opposite of happy is sad. So, if you want to emphasize or improve this vocabulary, you can find better antonyms by finding synonyms of the major antonym. For example, synonyms of sad or antonyms of happy or miserable, downcast, melancholic, for example. There's much more. All right, now collocation. This one, not many people may know. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you've not, but still, we'll cover it. It's the habitual or natural juxtaposition or positioning next to each other of a particular word with another word or phrase with a frequency greater than chance. It sounds more natural. For example, make a difference, take a break, heavy rain. Now, specifically, let's talk about heavy rain. You don't say strong rain, even though heavy and strong are similar things, but you don't say that. You say heavy rain. It's heavy rain's more natural. Strong rain sounds a bit off. Now, idioms. Idioms are the choice of words in the way that they are combined. That is the characteristic of a language and figurative. Now, idioms are usually used informally, but you can also use some idioms in your writing. For example, break a leg does not actually mean to break a leg. It symbolizes, it means good luck. And a blessing in disguise, cut corners, meaning to take shortcuts. Hang in there, and on cloud nine, which is also an idiom for happiness. All right, see you in the next one, literary devices.